Hello, everyone, and welcome. Have you ever wanted to create an online course? Have you ever started an online course but never actually finished it because you haven't had great habits to make that happen? Well, today I am talking to the lovely Karen Davis, who knows all about making online courses and making them profitable. I am the happiness coach, by the way, but I'm going to hand straight over to you, Karen, for you to talk about what habits you need in order to, yeah, make it all happen.
Thank you, Julie. So I think with online courses, when you decide that you want to create a course, it's quite a mammoth job. So I think one of the things that people often think is that they're going to have something ready to go very quickly, and creating an online course is a process, and you have to go through a journey to kind of get to the end. I mean, like with most things, anything that you create at the beginning requires you to go on that journey. And with online courses, there's a lot of things that you need to kind of go through to be able to kind of get to the end and have that course that you can then sell. And I think in order to support your progress as you create your course, I think you do need to sort of build in some good habits that will ultimately support you as you move through that process. And I think the first and foremost is really about being realistic, obviously, with your time, because I don't know about you, but we can all kind of probably be guilty of thinking we've got more time than we actually do. And then what happens is we set ourselves up to fail because we don't really have the time available that we thought we did. So I think one of the sort of habits that I would encourage people to build is just setting yourself up every single week with a focus. So I'm not talking necessarily a to-do list, but what I'm talking about is kind of getting really clear on what your week looks like. Now, I'm not talking about a month. I'm not talking about a day. I'm talking about a week, because I think a week is digestible. I think when you start looking at a month and beyond, it becomes almost a little bit more difficult to kind of determine what that's going to look like. So I think with when you're looking at your week, you can sort of look in at your calendar and you can kind of get a realistic snapshot as to what you have available to work with. And I think that's the first habit that I would encourage people to do, because then you can determine from that, what can I then put aside to work on my online course? Because most people that are creating courses often have something that they're having to juggle alongside. So it could be the fact that you run your own business, or it might be the fact that you have a job, or you have a family, or you have something that's sort of equally taking your attention. So I think right from the get go, being really clear, what does your week look like and what time can you put aside? And can you actually block out time in order to sort of work on that course? And if you can do that every single week, you will absolutely be a ninja when it comes to getting your course done. And I talk about this from first-hand experience, because when I created my very first online course, Crafting Your Brand, I had a young family, and I was running a business, and I was doing all the things, and I was getting frustrated because I wasn't achieving results. I wasn't getting my stuff done, and I knew what I wanted to have, but it wasn't working. So I had to kind of take time out and look at, like, what can I put in place that's going to support me? But it's not a one-time thing. You have to show up and do that every single week. And what I found was dedicating a day a week, and even sort of taking, say, 2 hours of that day, that really helped me to get into the flow of creating my online course. So for me, it was every Friday I would have 2 hours, and nothing would kind of interfere with those 2 hours. And I'd block it out in my calendar. And so I'd put it on a repeat every single week. That would be the time. And just by doing those 2 hours every single week, I made progress, and I actually got my stuff done. And so I think that's first and foremost a key habit that I think you need to build in sort of creating your online course.
Absolutely. And I guess the other thing is that once you know you've got that time blocked off, you can then kind of let it go a little bit.
Yeah,
It's easy to get preoccupied with, oh my God, I got to do it and I haven't done it. And when am I going to find time? And, and it takes up a lot of energy.
it
So I think that's a
does.
really great strategy. Yeah.
Yeah, and also the guilt as well. So I want to create an online course and I want to get it done and I want to have something to sell, next 3 months. Oh, but I haven't done any work. It's like going to the gym, isn't it? Like, you join the gym, you go for the first few times and then life just happens and gets in the way. And then you feel guilty. You carry this really awful guilt around that you haven't been to the gym. And so that then plays on your mind and takes that energy. And I think just penciling time in your calendar and putting it on a repeat so you know what you're doing. Like you say, you can relinquish it. It's gone. You know you're going to do it. As long as you show up for those 2 hours or whatever you can afford, you can get it done.
So guilt serves no purpose whatsoever,
No
apart from
one.
making us feel absolutely awful. Okay, Karen, what's your next habit?
So I think the next habit is really kind of a mindset habit. And this is something that what I've noticed with a lot of my clients, they all struggle with. It's that fear of the imposter syndrome. Because the thing about, again, an online course, it's requiring you to step out of your comfort zone and show up and be visible and create something around your knowledge. Well, of course, a lot of people don't think that they're expert enough, or, they might see somebody else in their space doing it and think that they're doing it better and all of this. So I think the next habit to adopt is one where it's more of an internal sort of dialogue that you have with yourself, where you can support your own kind of space in terms of, you know, sort of talking to yourself about what you can do to help yourself, the fact that you do know your stuff, the fact that you are expert, you can do this, and then being able to do that on a regular basis and building in time just to have that internal dialogue so that you kind of support your own sort of feelings around what you're doing. Because I think the worst thing to do is to kind of obviously identify that you want to create a course, you start it, and then it tails off. You don't then finish it because you're in your own way. You're sabotaging your own success because you're getting in your own way and telling yourself you can't do this. So it's just about having that sort of mental dialogue on a regular basis. And that could be when you're in the shower. It could be, it could be when you're out walking the dog. Just talk to yourself in a positive way so that you can identify how brilliant you are so that you can then bring that into the work that you're doing.
So is that by using affirmations, Karen? How do people actually do it? Because if it's not something they're used to doing, how are they going to suddenly adopt this new way of thinking? Because you're absolutely right that mindset it influences absolutely everything. And of course, some people might think, I want to do this course, at 1 minute and think, I've got the expertise, and then, like you say, doubt themselves. But also ultimately it might be that they fear that they won't be successful with their course and they won't fill it up and get what they want from it, or the people,
Yeah.
but there won't be enough participants. So somehow they sabotage the process along the way. So how can they adopt this mindset if they're not used to having, good self-talk?
Yeah, well, I think affirmations are great. And I think this is a habit that needs to be learned. So if somebody is doesn't do this in their everyday, you're absolutely right. It is going to sort of be a new way of thinking. But I think it's an important habit to adopt, not just with online courses, but in anything. Just being able to kind of connect with yourself internally and because nobody's going to know you better than you know you. And there's some power in being able to kind of talk through things in your mind that, kind of helps you to kind of understand, number one, why you're doing it, but the fact that you can do it as well. And it's having that internal dialogue. So I think it's just about starting and like talking to yourself and not being afraid to kind of speak to yourself internally, have that conversation with yourself. Why am I doing this? Well, I'm doing it because of this. What's it going to do for me? Well, it's going to give you more time. It's going to give you more freedom. You're going to be able to create this impact and actually have that dialogue and use affirmations, use positive quotes, use whatever you need, but start to sort of do that internal talking And it is something that, you know, it kind of can feel really uncomfortable if you're not used to it. But the great thing about this is nobody knows because it's internal.
Yeah.
And we
And it
should
might be
all be so,
useful. Sorry, Karen. It might be
yeah,
useful to actually to get really clear at the beginning of the course
yeah,
that why you're doing it and what it's for, which I know because I'm doing a course with you. I know
yeah,
that's really important. So that is a step. Um, but also maybe having it on a piece of paper so you can remind yourself, this is why I'm doing it.
yeah.
This is why I'm good at what I do, so that actually it's written down, in case somehow we kind of overlook those things and forget.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really important, I think, just to, you know, like get really clear. Clarity in anything that we do is essential. Why are you creating your business? You know, why are you creating you know, why do you post on social media? Why do you send an email out to your subscribers? Why are you creating like we have to have this clarity before we do anything, before we spend our time doing anything, we have to be really clear. And I think by getting really clear and understanding what it is you want to create for yourself, what you want to create for your life, the life that you want to build. I've always said that businesses are created for a sense of freedom. That's what people are chasing. When you strip everything away, I believe it's the freedom that sits at the very heart of what people are trying to do. And I think along the way that gets a little bit it gets forgotten because you get caught up in the chaos of life and running a business and doing all the things and wearing all the hats and all of this. And I think people forget that the reason why they've started a business in the first place is to give them that freedom that they crave. Now, it could be freedom financially, it could be creative freedom, it could be complete to be autonomous, or it could just be because they want more time. They want more time to enjoy their life. So then by keeping, if you like, your eye on the prize, the decisions that you then go on to make need to be able to support what your intentions were in the first place. So I like the idea of getting it clear, getting it written down and putting it in front of you. You know, like they say, vision boards. Vision boards are powerful because they keep you you know, aligned to what your greater goal is. And I think with online courses, I think that's a great idea as well. But once you've got it, you need to get yourself out your own way.
Yeah,
And I think it's that ultimately stops people. You know, it's this, I'm going to start and then it's going to tail off and then I'm not going to finish it,
yeah, I couldn't
you
agree.
know?
Okay, what's next?
Yeah. So I think the third sort of habit to adopt is all about workflow. So this is a bit more practical one. So in my business, what I have learned and what I've adopted over the many years is building out very simple workflows that help me to get things done. And a workflow is simply a step by step by step approach to doing something. That's all it is. And it doesn't matter whether it's your online course or whether it's, you know, your marketing or whether it's creating a new offer, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. There will be a very simple system that you'll need to follow to actually get something done. And I think when you approach something on a regular basis, you need to kind of have something that kind of supports you in doing so, so that when life happens, you're not suddenly going all, you know, down different rabbit holes, doing all the different things. So I think the next habit is about adopting a very, very, very simple workflow that supports what it is you're trying to get done. So for example, if it's the online course and you're looking at doing something and you say you're creating content for a lesson, then what you would need to do is just work out what steps are needed to create what you need to get done for that lesson. So it might be that you need to identify what content. Once you've identified what content, it might be that you want to write a script around the content. It might be that you need to create some slides if you're doing a voiceover slides, and then you may need to record it. So then you need to just create a very simple workflow that's going to help you to achieve that. And one of the tools that I use to do this is Trello, because Trello, for those that don't know, is a project management tool. It's in Kanban style, so it's columns, and you could just put step one is this, step two is this, step three is this, step four is that. And what that does is when you are doing something on repeat, and with an online course, there's a lot of repetitive tasks, you can then use that workflow to guide you through what you're doing. So it might be that you might create a simple system that has to do in progress completed. And maybe that might be your simple workflow. But I think having something that you use on a regular basis will support your efforts as you're creating your course.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Wow. Great habits, Karen. Anything else you want to add?
I think with anything, I think it is just like I say, it's getting clear on what you're doing. It's identifying why you're doing it, and it's keeping your mind on what that looks like going forward. So get really clear on what life is going to be like when you have your online course created. You're going to have more time, more money, more freedom, more control. You're going to create a business that you love. You're going to create more impact. So I think lean into that feeling of what that's going to look like, and then set yourself up for success by creating these habits and getting really clear on what you need to do to get things happening, and then to take action. Do not worry about being perfect, but just do the work. And then at the end of it, you'll have something that will be a game changer in your business.
I love that. So it's get clear, lean in, and keep the main thing the main thing. Boom.
Yeah. And don't get distracted. Build a habit around blocking out distractions.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much, Karen. I am doing a course with Karen. She's completely, what word is that? She's completely brilliant and it's
Oh,
very,
thank
very
you.
clear and structured. And I cannot recommend her highly enough. So check out her links. They will be below. Mine will be there as well. If you want to be a happy, healthy human, you need great habits. Check out my links for more. So thank you, Karen, once again. And thank you, everyone else, for watching.